All right, live on that with Mr. Be Great today, Lamar King Sr. Glad y'all tapped in with me. Got a great show lined up for y'all today. Talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. I got Mr. Elevation Jake Butts on the show. Y'all welcome him to the show. Welcome him to the show.
Anytime we link up, man, it's good to be here with you, man. You know, it's a beautiful thing every time we link up, man. It's miraculous, man. It's marvelous. We always seem to do something that's forever to be something good for the people, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm glad to be a part of any platform that you put out there, man. And, you know, put out some good content for the people.
Gotcha, man. I sure appreciate the love and support. Appreciate it like hell, man. But we're gonna jump right in, man. I always give people opportunity to introduce themselves, tell you where you're from, what you're doing. You know, what's the move?
Well, first of all, I'm Jake Butts, but you know my name as far as my movement is Mr. Elevation. We'll get into later how he was created and what Mr. Elevation came from. I'm a small town called Milledgeville, Georgia, a little small rural area where I grew up at. You know, where it ain't much to do. It's easy to get in trouble. It's easy to get involved in the wrong thing. Easy to get involved with and caught up with the wrong thing, you know, because you ain't really got a lot of attractions or a lot of exposure to things that can get you to a higher level of life or your greatest version of life. And then that's not to say that it's not possibilities there, but the possibilities are limited, or kind of limited. Especially coming up from how I came up in a single parent home, just my mother. My father wasn't there. You know, he was struggling through his struggles in life, you know, his addictions and things of that nature. I'm the oldest of, well, it used to be four brothers. One of my brothers passed, and I'm pretty sure we'll get into that too in this segment. You know, just the basic growing up, you know, in Milledgeville, man, and trying to find my way as a child and trying to find my identity. Something I'm just discovering at the age of 38, about to be 39. Just really tapping into that identity. I've been searching for it all my life. And I'm just really trying to, just recently, within the last few years, grabbing hope and getting an understanding of what it means to have it. So, but growing up in Milledgeville wasn't much of a choice. Wasn't many choices to choose from. You choose right or you choose wrong, and wrong was a very, very large window to choose from. Especially growing up in the neighborhood you and I grew up from in Harrisburg, southwest of Milledgeville. You pretty much know that was a pretty rough neighborhood, you know. Lo and behold, man, you know, as we move on with this, a lot came with that.
And I know, man, we come up in an era when the gang culture kind of took us by storm. You know, I can vaguely remember, you know, watching a documentary, Banging in Little Rock, one night, you know, on HBO. and the very next day, man, you know, who's in middle school, the very next day we had gangs, you know, and that showed you how powerful, you know, the media and television can be on a young mind. So, you know, as far as coming up in gang culture, you know, coming up in a drug culture, you know, I know it was some struggles. I know it was some setbacks and things like that. Where did that lead you? How did that get you from there to here today? Like, what were some of the challenges of being in that culture that you had to overcome?
Well, I was laughing when you said Gang Banging Little Rock. I remember we must have watched that documentary the same exact night, because I remember when it came on. I remember sitting there watching every didn't move. Watched all of it, and it caught my attention. You know, because I didn't even know that existed until I watched that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I immediately caught hold and wanted to be like that. Yeah. That was my. It immediately came something I wanted to be like. It looked dominant. It looked like prestige. It looked a lot like power. You know, things. These are the things that I wanted coming up, right? Didn't get any of that. It looked like you get a lot of attention from it. I remember that it's vague and vivid, just as you just said it. And coming to school, and next thing you know, like gangs everywhere. Yeah. And I want to be a part of that because everybody was subjected to respect anybody that was in the game, right?
Right.
And in our neighborhood, it was right there.
Yeah.
You know, walking up the street on the school bus, coming home in the afternoon, watching the other games on the outside on the block. All the kids on the bus looking at them. And that was like the big, we get ready when the school bus ride by to see what they were doing that next day. I remember you being out there, you was a little older than us. I remember seeing y'all out there in front of Jerry Club and, you know, stuff like that when the bus passed by. And I'm like, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna get like that. I'm gonna be just like them guys. just chasing that attention, man, chasing that dominance, chasing that. It was the biggest thing was attention because I wasn't getting it in the household.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting the proper amount of attention that I need. And that ain't to blame my mama because she was doing the best she could.
Yeah.
Now that I got older and I understand that she loved us to death because we never went without. We never went without for Christmas. I can remember like several Christmases when Christmas time come and my mama would let everything get cut off and we'll move to my grandma's house about 3 streets up every year until income tax time came and we'll move back home for all the lights and everything. She'll keep the rent paid, but everything else be cut off, right?
Yeah.
But just to make sure we had Christmas, so I can't say she didn't love her, but we got plenty of love, man. School time, she sacrificed bills, get behind, lights we cut off just to get our school clothes. We sitting in candlelight, you know, having to go up to my auntie house. My auntie Glover just passed about a couple months ago, long little Glover. My mommy, my brothers, they were little, man. My mom would sneak up there and she tried to tell me to be quiet. She didn't want nobody to know we were sneaking behind the house, filling up coolers so we can come warm up the water so we can take a bath and wash our face the next morning for school. You know, I was the only one. My other brother, they were too young to know it. But man, I remember thinking like, what are we doing? You know, we sneaking. My mama sneaking, don't want nobody here. She ain't even letting them know we getting the water out their backyard. You know, we filling up cooler. And she like, shh. You know what I mean? I remember that.
and I think that pushed us a little farther because, you know, as I look at my path and like I said, we walk similar paths, and we both come from single parent household. And I watch my mom. I watch some of those same similar scenarios where, you know, you're trying to figure out, you know, is the water gonna be on the lights, you know, all that stuff, right? But I think that was something that propelled us to the streets because, of course, the drug culture, being able to go out here and make some money and make more money than our parents in a lot of cases, right? I think that what kind of propelled us, having those very humble beginnings, having, you know, sometimes going without necessities just to, you know, maybe even survive. And we jumped into the streets to kind of, you know, I ain't got to go ask my mama to buy me school clothes. I ain't got to ask my mama to, you know, let me go to the football game or go to the movies because I had my own money, things like that. So what was your age when you I would say, you know, the term we use, what age did you jump off the porch? When did you jump off the porch and jump down in the belly of the beast?
Started tipping about 11 and 12, you know, smoking weed, you know, that was the journey in. I started venturing out into stuff. My mama didn't know I was sneaking, you know, I never forget, I was 13. She knew one day, my mama used to run gambling games on the weekend, you know, get her side cut. That was her hustle on the weekend, you know, because we would watch the adults and what they did. I got tired of coming in when the street light come on call. I remember telling my mama get the arguing, I'd be like, ain't nobody else, mama tell them to come in, why I got to come in? And then I can remember my mama was trying to keep me out in the street, man. You know, she'll come up there and she'll park right in front of my friend house. She would get in the car. I stay out there, try to be hard. You sit out there and wait on me, you know, let me dog. I want to hang out there with everybody else. Ain't nobody else, mama tell them to come in, you know. So that was kind of like the tipping me, and I started being rebellious, you know. Yeah. You know, I leave the house and start sneaking out because I want to hang out with the fellas in Harrisburg. You know, I remember that. You know, I'm like, well, I want this. I want to be a part of this. This is where it's at. So that thing, you know, I was in the game, you know. I think you definitely there that day when I decided I want to be in the game. And about 14, 15, man, took off, you know. Started peddling around with drugs, you know, it didn't kill. Yeah. Drug, weed, and other kind of drugs started coming into play then. Now I'm really in the mix, you know, and life just took a wrong turn after that, you know what I mean? So.
And after, you know, initially, you know, jumping in the streets, indulging in the gang culture, you know, the drug activity, you had to go do some time.
Went to YDC. Yeah, I got caught with a bunch of drugs on Fifth Street, man. Drunk, you know what I mean? And when I was about 15, man, 16 going on 16 when I got that first YDC. First time being away, you know, and they ain't let me out. You know, everybody else get out. So I had too many drugs on me, you know, it was a large amount. And they said they kept me for, you know, a few months, man. And that was my first experience. That was real. When I got around there, the other young cats, and they was already way ahead of me. I'm looking like, whoa. You know, I kind of had a reality check in YDC. I'm like, dang, best when they told me I wasn't going home. Yeah. I'm thinking, I remember I used to see our motor boy, they go to YDC, they get right back out there on the block the next day.
Yeah, you used to do 3 days. You used to have to do 3 days, and then you come home. You know what I mean? But like you say, you get caught up with some probably the amount of drugs and things you had to sit a while.
Yeah, and it was at 15 years old, man. So And mind you, I was a nerd in school too. Now I'm talking about gifted classes, OEs, all of the middle school. So when this process started, I wasn't studying school no more. Because I was getting all A's and B's. You know, I was stupid smart still until this day. That's why I love reading. But I put that to the side for this attention, for this attraction, for this promotion. I want this attention, this attraction, and promotion that would come. The women was coming, everything was coming by this time. You know what I mean? I fell in love with it. You know, I fell in love with the lifestyle. That's all I wanted. I couldn't see nothing else, no more problem for the next 20 years, but this lifestyle.
Gotcha. And then it probably, and I know I seen it snowball into like a revolving door. So from the time you went to YDC until you became Mr. Elevation, what was the time frame as far as like how many times you had to go in and out, how many times you had to bump your head to kind of get it, to say, you know what, this ain't working? How was that process?
I want to say this, man, because at 15, you know, I was indulging in heavier drugs then, which is cocaine, right? Mm-hmm. At 15. Yeah. I'm talking about at 15, heavily indulging in cocaine. Usage, you know, like selling crack cocaine, usage. My whole mental, everything has changed, you know, the way I do things, my attitude, my behavior, everything about me has changed already at 15. And this is going to lead up to your question. I kind of, at that time, you know, I was having a little bit spurts. You know, it was fun selling drugs, but I was loving this. I had got caught up in the high. Yeah. By that time, I got caught up in the high. You know, I just say, don't get high off your own supply. I got caught up getting high at my own supply early. And I had nobody to coach me through it, you know. Yeah. I just gave it, I got the drugs, started selling them, and I just jumped on the block. And about 10, you know,
don't try.
Yeah. Older cat, I ain't gonna put their name on it since we on this thing. Yeah. You know, you wanna try this young blood. And I remember that at 15, you know, I looked up to him, you know what I mean? So then he turned 9,
They do.
You know, whatever to get me closer into this bondage of people, you know, do what y'all do, I want to do it too. You know what I mean?
So it was more of a acceptance thing. Like you wanted to be accepted within a group of people. To feel that love, and I, in my opinion, I think that's the reason a lot of things that go on in the world today, especially when you're talking about young black males like yourself at the time, myself, our friends, you know, our family, it was all about acceptance, because coming from, you know, and I can, you know, it's very few friends, or probably very few friends that you know that come from a 2-parent household where you got that balance. So, you know, my mom, your mom both worked 2-3 jobs our entire childhood. And so the streets, I wouldn't say was our daddy, but that was our level of influence. That's what we looked up to. And so when we got out there in it, like you said, didn't nobody tell us that you ain't supposed to do cocaine like that. If you're gonna sell it, you can't do it. You know, and I indulged in it myself. You know what I mean? I talk about it in my book, and I talk about how I had to overcome a habit and overcome that lifestyle. Because when as a child loves attention. You know, you have kids, you understand, they love attention. And when if they don't get it from the crib, they don't get it at home, they're gonna go look for it elsewhere. Whether it be drugs, girls, friends, gangs, you know, whatever the case may be. So I know when you, as time evolved, and as you start indulging in drugs, you know, going in and out of prison and things like that, I recall that, you know, KB's, you know, long little KB's your little brother. And how did that, you know, for those who don't know, KB's was murdered, you know, unexpectedly. How did that impact you? How did that change you? Where were you when you found out that your brother was killed?
I was in prison.
Man.
I was in prison. And my brother was with me the night I went to prison, like when I got arrested, you know. I was, you know, I had to start back. This was late on after all the drug usage. We talking 20 years later, you know. 2016, my brother got killed, by the way, March 27th, Easter Sunday, I never forget. And I was staying in Macon. He came to Macon. He was at my house. And they ran in on me that night. I didn't even know it. You know, it was a bus. I immediately told him he ain't got nothing to do with it. I told him to run downstairs, and I ran upstairs to go hide the drug, but they found all this stuff anyway. That was my first time going to prison, and after that situation too. That was the last time I seen my brother, man. And you know, a month or two later, you know, I get a call. I'm locked up, you know, headed to prison. I had a 3-year prison sentence. They called me, but Lieutenant off. I never forget it. I'm like, damn, what Lieutenant want me? I get in there. I was in the kitchen on detail, and they said, oh, we got a phone call. Call the number. I said, I called him about I remember my cousin Tay number. Like, damn, what Tay want? You know, somebody must got hurt, died, some type of older person. You know, I ain't thinking this. You know.
Yeah.
So I called my mama. I said, Mom, why they want me to call Tay number? She said, Kevin got shot last night. I said, what? Yeah, you know, thinking he just got shot. You know, he probably in the hospital, probably in a stable condition, you know. She didn't want to let me know. She paused. About 5-10 seconds. I never forget, I had the phone. I said, he dead? She said, yeah, he gone. I dropped the phone. I hollered. I never forget it, man. And you talking about a spiritual experience, man. And I think, you know, as we get into this conversation, I think that was the day. I think that's when the seed went in the ground for elevation, because I've never had anything that close hit home of that effect. Because I can remember back in 2001, maybe 2002, talking to my brothers. I said, look, man, don't get in no game. Whatever y'all do, bro, because this ain't what y'all think it is, bro. I had moved to Macon trying to get clean off drugs. 2011, you know, I helped my brother, and they were selling drugs at the time, you know, truth be told. I left. I said, look, bro, I gotta go get clean and get my life together. So they used to argue, man, they didn't like to see me like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I helped them connect them with some people, and I left. I come back. I found out my brother in the game. I don't know how it went, but I was upset about that. You know, we talking about a lot of anger I ain't never discussed. I was upset about it. I ain't want them to be part of it.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, when I first got in, you know, this organization, it was I remember them saying, hey, you know, we be at the meetings and stuff. You remember all the, you know, back in the day. They talking about all about it's love, it's loyalty, it's this. You know, I'm like, yo, this it. This it. That's what I've been looking for. I remember. Yo, we did brotherly love, you know. And I embrace that, because I ain't never heard nobody telling me that. We love you, bro. You know, I ain't never heard that in my household. Nobody never told me I love you physically. My first time ever hearing I love you from a girl, and I went crazy. When she said, I was about 13, I ain't never heard nobody tell me out their mouth that I can remember. I love you, Jake.
Yeah.
True story. Never heard it. You know what I mean? To this day, my mama ain't never. They ain't never said, you know, we probably glanced, grazed it off with each other, rolled on the letter when I was in prison. You know, and like I said, that don't mean she don't love me now. Sometimes people can't give you what they was never given, and somebody had to teach you.
Yeah, and I get it, because a lot of I had an uncle that he was, you know, he passed a few years ago, and I would always go see him when I would, you know, come home, and you know, I would always say I love you, and he man, it was like, all right then, like he would never say it back, because like you say, they can never. Like they can't learn what they've never been taught or never expressed, and I'm sure, and I know for a fact that he loved me, just like you knew your mother, she loved you. But sometimes for them to utter those words, it's kind of like, it's so foreign to them, it's strange. They'll run from it, you know. It's fight or flight, you know. But they're gonna either face it or they're gonna, you know, retreat. And it's funny you say that, when they don't, especially in the older generation and within the Black community, a lot of times when you're telling them, you know, I love you. A lot of times, especially though, they won't say it back, and not to say they don't love you, and not to say that, you know, there's no love in the Black family, but the actual words, sometimes speaking them is a little bit more harder, you know what I mean, in some scenarios. And so after the death of your brother, and you know, man, you've been through some of the similar situations. My brother got murdered in 2007, you know.
Same neighborhood, by the way.
Same neighborhood, you know what I mean?
Same area.
Same area. We come up, and people say, you know, you come from a small town like myself. We come from Milledgeville, and people like, Milledgeville, where that at? And they be thinking it's just like Mayberry. Like, oh, they just, you know, y'all got one red light. Yeah, it's small. It is small, but it's a lot. It was a lot going on, you know, from the early mid 90s to now. You know, it's just some stuff just happened this weekend now, and it's, you know, it's crazy. But how did you transition, and how was the effect? How was the death of your brother? How did it affect you, you know, mentally? How did it affect you, you know, spiritually, and in all facets of life, and especially being the fact that you were in prison? So I take it that you couldn't even go to the funeral.
My mama done tried everything to get me out, man. I couldn't get to go. My cousin, who's law enforcement, wouldn't transport me there and back. The folks weren't having it.
And that's sad. That's too sad.
I remember watching it on the news, Channel 30. I remember watching on the news about Kevin Stanton got killed at a birthday party, you know, the birthday shooting they called it, whatever it was. Man, you talking about, bro, I ain't eat, you know, bro. I ain't eat for about, like, I've never really talked about this, by the way. I've never discussed it, man. I've been harboring this pain, man, for 6 years, man. I ain't never. Only person I ever discussed it with was like Brandon, you know, people that were really, really close to me. That was the most detrimental pain I've ever felt in my entire life. And then I couldn't be at his funeral, you know. And anybody know me and my brother? Me, out of all four, me and him was the closest. We had the closest relationship, bro. All my brother wanted me to do was get clean, bro. And he said, bro, he really, you know, at the time he was caught up in lifestyle. He wanted me to get clean, jump back in the drug, get the scene, you know what I mean? And I kind of did that after this. When I got out, I went to sell the drug. And if anybody kept up with me, it was all about, you know, KB's gonna be proud of me. I posted it out. KB's was here to see me. I was doing it for the call to his name. I wasn't even selling drugs. I just wanted to do what my brother wanted. That was my drive. You know, that was kind of how Elevation started. And not promoting anybody to sell drugs. I'm just saying, but I started morally selling drugs. I was still smoking weed, doing other extra activities and stuff. I was really making money. Yeah. And I was getting a lot of money. And I felt so good. I was like, man, do what Kevin wanted, man. And my drive, that's how I dealt with my grief.
That's tough, and that's some of the same stuff I had to go through as far as, you know, mine happened, you know, about 10 years earlier. You know, me and Dog had been gone like 9-10 years before KB's level. And that's because coming up, I didn't indulge in drug use like that while I was in the streets. It wasn't, you know, I was selling the dope. It wasn't all like me using. But when my brother got killed, man, I went on a spree. You know, I was, man, even on my book, I talk about, man, I had $150 a day coke habit for, you know, I'm talking about for a number of years. And it was a point, and I just indulged in the drugs to suppress what I was going through. I had to close. I was able to go to my brother's funeral. I even spoke at my brother's funeral. And when you don't have that closure, I can only imagine the pain that you had to go through, not being able to see him for the one last time, or not be able to, you know, spend time with family in their time of bereavement. And what people don't understand, that sibling love is probably the highest form of love, in my opinion, because when mama on both of y'all had, we together, you know what I mean? Like, we both mad at mama, you know what I mean? We on the same side, like, I can't stand her, you know, we ain't gonna say it to her favor, but then I was saying, we had some conversation that we don't want mama to hear. And I commend you on it, because I can recollect that when my brother got killed, I would have to say, Mr. Be Great Today. I think Be Great Today was a seed planted at that point, because in the same facet, my brother was my biggest cheerleader. My brother was one of the reasons why I didn't go to prison, because there been times where he'll take a charge just so I don't go. It's been times where he'd be like, "No, my brother ain't did nothing. Y'all got, if anything you got on him, I did it." Like, and to have somebody that willing to go to prison for you, willing to, you know, my brother had came out of nowhere. I was beefing with some cats one night. He come out of nowhere. Like, where'd you come from, man? You Superman or something? And I looked at him as like Superman. And to have that brotherly love that has birthed elevation into your life, have birthed Be Great Today in my life, it's worth the journey now. You know what I mean? If I could go back and change things and have him here with me today and just imagine what we could accomplish today, I would. But of course, we ain't got no time machine. But I understand and I can empathize with you, brother, how it takes, you have to take your pain and you have to turn it into your purpose. You know what I mean? You have to take that pain, you have to take that agony, that grief, and especially not being able to have that closure to get you to that level, to elevate you to that next level.
And not only closure, but to have a confidant.
Yeah.
To teach me how to get through this. You know, I'm pretty, I saw my mama going through stuff, and I got out of prison, but she wasn't right, but God, man. And that took another toll on me. So I jumped out trying to help her, taking on all these responsibilities, doing this, and I lost myself and jumped back in the drug. You know what I mean? Because I went focused. I'm trying to beat up. I'm just trying to play defense. You know, I went balanced, right?
All over the place.
Yeah, I'm all over the place trying to cheat. She crying, I don't know what to do. Everybody tell me how to deal with all this. You feel me? I'm trying to work, trying to make sure her bill paid. I know I'm doing good. I want somebody to tell me they're proud of it, but still looking for validation. Still looking for validation. Understand that? Still looking for validation. So, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, but it's funny you said that, because I remember they had a shout out to Pastor Sean Jones, man. They used to do, build back the wall in Millersville. I remember they did a panel of mothers who've lost a child to gun violence, and your mother and my mother have been in that situation, and that's one of the hardest things that I had. And I think that's why I indulged in so much drugs at the time, because my mother couldn't see me break down. I couldn't even the fact that I was there the whole time. I couldn't mourn like I wanted to, because I had to be strong. And that's the same. I'm taking it. That's the same. I got to be strong for my mama, because I tell you, a mother, not only did she go through 9 months of pregnancy, 8-9 hours of labor, then raise the child, feed them, clothe them, provided for, and then she had to put them in a casket and bury them. And that is the worst agony that I would never wish on my worst enemy, because a mother having to bury a child, that is and I can only imagine what your mother had to go through losing a child, and then unexpected. Like, I can understand if a person's sick or they going through some health complications, but to be murdered, that's a whole nother ball game. And I'm appreciative of the things I've been through, and I'm pretty sure you are too. But man, that's a tough pill to swallow.
During my drug usage days, within those 20 years I jumped past, a lot went on with me. I was homeless. A lot of times I had nowhere to go. Lost everything several times. I mean, when I say homeless, I slept on the streets in Atlanta, Georgia. Didn't want to call my family for about 6, 7, 8 months. Nobody knew who I was. I'm sleeping in abandoned houses, sleeping outside on cardboard boxes, eating out of soup lines. My drug addiction had got so bad, bro. Stealing, panhandling from the stove. They got that saying. That's why when I see people panhandling from the store, I give them money. But that reminds me of me. I remember me. Atlanta, Georgia, running around, nobody didn't know who I was, how I really was. I had lost all my top, man. Them some devastating moments in my life. But throughout all that, my brother always, he tried to give me a pep talk. I mean, one time I came to the house, he always tried to get me to get clean. He said, go in there, pussy. He said, go in there, pussy. Go in there in that closet, nigga. That's how he said, go in there in that closet and get some brand new clothes. I probably been up 4, 5 days, same clothes on, stinking. You know what I mean? He said, go in there, take a bath. Go in there, take a bath. Nigga, go in there, get some brand new clothes and a brand new pair of shoes. Nigga, going to the club the other night. And you finna holler at these like you YouTube. You feel me? And you ain't finna get shit. You ain't finna get no drugs. How he treated me. He ain't never look at me no different, opposed to how everybody else did. He used to give me hell sometimes. He used to act like he the big brother a lot of times. I be stealing from him and Merv. Merv out steal their drugs. And, my brother, they be looking for me for 2, 3 days. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Love my brother, man. Shout out to my brothers, man. They still love to this day, man. Stove, tank, all on, but I was in my drug addiction. But my brother, KB's love me to death, bro. Like for real, bro. We just ride, have talks, hit the weed, nigga. You don't need that, you know what I mean? He's want me to bounce. He's want me to bounce back though. He tried everything, bro. KB tried to get me bounce back, bro. That's why I go hard for him. Salute. Okay, shout out to KB, little KB's, man. He gave me hell for a good reason, man.
Got Mr. Elevation on that with Mr. Be Great today, man. We got to pay a few bills, man. Y'all stay with me. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Be great today. Peace.
Small town, big life.
Hey, write it on the beat.
OB, you made it hit, nigga. Small town, big life. Long day, long night. 1,000,001 different stories, yeah. Small town, big lights, long day, long night, 1,000,001 different stories, yeah.
Made my home in the city, but I came from a small town. I grew up with the street niggas. I avoided that lifestyle, but I'm still on that gangster shit.
405, Sparta Highway in Milledgeville, Be the Head Barbecue. The best barbecue in the whole Southeast, baby. There's no event too big, too small. They got you. They got rental tables. They got grills. They got chairs. They got tents. They got the best ribs in the whole South. You feel me? They got that one flip chicken. You know what I mean? The size, them butter beans, them baked beans, them collard greens, them cabbages, that dressing. Oh my God. Go check my boy out at 405 Sparta Highway. Call him up, 478-251-5300. Be great today. Peace. All right, we back on that with Mr. Be Great today. Got Mr. Elevation, Jake Butts in the building. We're gonna jump right back in, man. I know you've had a vast journey in life, and I know you're transitioning to Mr. Elevation, what was one of the first things that changed for you? What was, you know, one of the first things that you changed in order to transform into Mr. Elevation?
I started back reading, right? Because I had got away from reading for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see, I got many books back there, and I've read all the books back there. I study, man. I read a lot, man, and I knew I wanted something different, man. I had kept going to prison, went back again, like a couple months after my brother was killed. After I got out, because I was selling drugs, ripping and running, trying to live that lifestyle that I talked about earlier, about trying to fulfill that fantasy that I know my brother wanted me to see, and that was part of my grief process. But I kept going to prison, making good money. I made good money, you know. I met a woman, man, Brandy, who I'm married to today. She was different. You know, I had many women in my life. I put her to the test about everything, but she seemed to be so authentic. So I kept pushing. But she kept passing the test. Well, they just kept passing the test. I'm like, man, no way. Something right. Real, something right. But it was her. I think it wasn't her that changed me, but it was her presence in my life. Because she come from a totally different background. Never been in the streets. Never been around anybody of my caliber. Never been anybody that been in jail. She never been with anybody that been in jail. She never anything of this nature that how I was living. But she accepted me and she loved me until I learned to love myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she made me want to be better, man. You know, she was the kind of woman that I like. Okay, I like her. You know, I like her. It was kind of weird at first because she's Caucasian, right? And I've never dated a Caucasian woman in my life. And not that mattered, but it was new. And her background was different. You know, everything about it was different. So I had to adjust to that. I was a little iffy about it at first, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna give it a chance. Cause she keep coming. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I went to prison, and she stayed with me through the bed, and day for day, come to see me, give me all my materials I need for studying. And I started reading. I started finding out about eating healthy, man. Elevation, man. It just came up in my mind one day. Elevation, man. Time for you to elevate. Time for you to elevate to a new level. I have a support system now, like I never had before. You know, Randy was a support system I've never seen. That was a fortification I didn't even know existed. Like, you know, that's how I know the higher power dropped her in my life, man. You know, God, in my understanding, dropped her in my life. Because he knew what I needed to get to the next level. So he sent the help. Mm-hmm. You know, he sent the help. He sent the proper amount of help. Not the help that was going to beat me up with my past. Not the help that was going to try to keep bringing up what I did back then. Not the help that was going to keep down to me when I made a mistake. But she always says, okay, baby, we'll get through this. All simple. I'm like, where did that woman come from? So I'm used to these. You ain't going to never do that. You ain't going to never be that. That's what I was used to, right?
Yeah.
Beat me up, making me feel worse. So I'm going to use some more drugs. They keep doing it because nobody care. They just want to keep putting me down. And that I lived in that self-pity for so long, but I met her, she was like, it's okay, baby, we'll get through this. You know, that's what
it'd be so foreign. And as I hear you tell your story, and I can't help but, you know, it seems like our lives have mirrored each other in some way, right? Because of course, just like you, I'm recently married, and I can attest to that. When you meet a woman that doesn't use, like, even me and my wife, we from the same neighborhood, but I didn't even know her. Like, she from Harrisburg. Like, I didn't really know her like that. But when you meet someone who's not using your past against you, and they're not, you know, they don't even know your past, to be honest with you, and all they know for who you are today, all my wife knows is Must Be Great Today with Mark King Sr. That's all she knows. She don't know YK. She heard of him. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Brandon probably never even heard of Jake the Snake. You know what I mean? I hate But my thing, I think it's one of those things where it'd be too good to be true, and we're so used to having that doubt in those words of our past used against us, that when we get something different, you be like, hold up, this can't be real, man. This somebody, am I on a prank show? What is this? This can't be real. And I appreciate. I'm happy for you, brother. I'm happy for the fact that you found that soulmate, you found that helpmate, that person that's going to help prepare you and elevate you to that next level. And I know you talked about your eating habits. So as far as your eating habit, what did you change about your diet?
I started reading about it, but I actually started on May 1st, 2019. Mm-hmm. That was the day I never forget. I stopped eating beef, chicken, pork, turkey, and I'm plant-based, but it's called a pescatarian. It's, you have, it's when You're actually if you look it up, a pescatarian is actually a vegetarian that has fish in his dietary.
Gotcha.
So it's mainly plant-based. We've evolved, and Brandy became that's another thing. Everything I do in my life, she transitioned in her life and supports me through it. You see what I'm saying? That's another thing. That's another big plus for Brandy, you know. And I get into some other things she follows that I do, you know, to support me through. I'm like, where did woman come from, man?
Yeah.
But when she transitioned, it even enhanced my journey. Because she started studying. Baby, did you know about this? Did you know about this? Did you know? And it enhanced the journey. So she kept pouring into me as I kept pouring into myself. And that's why if you see a lot of posts, I say Mr. and Miss Elevation. Because she was the background. When I started my clothing line, I was in prison, bro. A lot of folk didn't know that. Let's say that. Let's talk about that. I was in prison when I started this. The people who were buying all my clothes, they never saw me. They saw Brandy when she delivered the product. I was in prison.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny to say that. You know, shout out to a Father's Vision. Me and you're part of a group of Father's Vision. My boy Alonzo Stroud up in Charlotte, man. Shout out to my guy. And me and Jake we was talking over the phone for many months, like many months. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna pull up on you. He like, no, I can't. You ain't gonna be able to pull up on me. Like, what are you talking about? Man, I'm in prison. I'm like, what? Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. You got your clothes. You got everybody wearing Elevation jogging suits, shirts, you know, all this. And I'm like, and you in prison? He like, yo, man, I'm in prison. I'm like, wow. I was like, he had me fooled. He had me. I don't think it was nothing intentional, but he was just moving in such a way that you would have thought the man was not. You would have thought he was next door. But you was in the confines of the Georgia Department of Correction at the time.
Exactly. I was doing motivational speeches every morning in prison, by the way. You know what I mean? I was still locked up. when all this was going on, you know? And me and Brandy putting the plays together, you know? Okay, Brandy, how we gonna market this? I need you to put this online for me. I need you to put that online. And she was right there.
Yeah.
The whole way, you know? Through the whole thing, bro. So, you know, a lot of folk didn't know that. This just dropped out there. A lot of people did not know this. When Elevation, I'm going to say it again, when Elevation first started, I was not out. I was in prison. Every shipment, everything that got shipped across the country to these people, Brandy did that. Yeah. She's always been in the background taking care of the business. You know what I mean? She just went, I was the forefront. She was like the manager. She was in the background, handling everything. You know, I just be worried with her to death. Did you get this out of today? Did you get this out of today? She ripping and running, trying to get it did. She did it. She always executed, bro. She always executed, bro, no matter what I wore. But yeah, my eating habit, man, I started running, I started exercising, I started working out, and I started pouring into myself, investing in me, man, and elevating myself. And in the process, I shared my journey with people. The things I was talking about, I was really doing, and I still do it today. Still to this day. You know, I had a couple slip up with a couple setbacks, but elevation ain't never stopped. My foundation was built, and I'm still living upon that. I'm standing on that, you know. Just a whole lot of elevation going on, man. I mean, look what elevation got me to. I'm sitting on a podcast talking today. Yeah. I come from sleeping outside on the ground, man. Yeah. Eating out the garbage can, man. Sleeping in the abandoned house, you know. Knocking on McDonald's drive-through window before they pour the food out after let me get some, you know. I ain't had nowhere to go, ain't had nowhere to eat. A lot of people didn't know I went through that level of degradation and depravity, but I did. Yeah. I come from that to having a clothing line, man, to being in a marriage, to eating healthy, to, you know, I'm talking about real elevation. Real elevation, man. Yeah. You can't even bring me no chicken wing, no none of that. I don't eat that. That don't go. I ain't consumed that in 3 years, brother. None of that.
Salute to you, my brother. And you talked about marriage, so you know it took you. You know, you went to reading, you changed your eating habits. You also changed your spirituality about life. You know what I mean? Let's talk about your spirituality. How did that affect, and where did that play a part in your growth, in your elevation?
Well, I started reading a lot, man, and I stumbled across Islam, man, Muslims, man, and I was like, wow. And I still study to this day, man. I got, I'm a Muslim now, by the way. I pray 5 times a day. I just got finished praying before I started the podcast. I always call him, me and Lamar talking like, hey man, I gotta call you in a minute. I'm gonna pray. You know, you know that. So he'll witness to that. Yeah. When I'm at work on break, I take a travel rule with me everywhere I go. I pray at work. I pray sometime in the park when prayer come in. I don't miss no salat. It's called salat. I don't miss no prayer. They come in at a certain time of the day. They come on my hour. Let me know when time for prayer to come in. Brandy never missed any prayer. She's a Muslim too, by the way. Shout out to Brandy. She took her shahada. She took her shahada this year when we became married. She became a Muslim. And she's loving her journey. She got a book she got to read for a women's class on Sunday this week. She's got to be co-host of that at the mosque. So, you know, she got her own process going as a Muslima. She wears the full hijab everywhere she go to work. In the mall, we be tripping out. We was in Walmart in the mall. So looking at folks looking at you, they think you crazy. A white Muslim, a white woman, Muslim. These folks like, what?
Hey, and I know, you know, we come from similar backgrounds, and coming from a traditional Christian background, and now, you know, you're full-fledged Muslim. You know what I mean? Shout out to you, Jake, you and Miss Elevation. How, you know, what is the difference, and what's the pros and cons? I ain't gonna say the pros and cons. What can you take that Islam has given you? You know what I mean? That you may have lacked in the beginning as a child. Like, what has it given you, and how has it, you know, enhanced your elevation in life? Like, what has it took you to another level that we didn't receive coming up in a traditional, you know, Christian black household?
What Islam gives me centeredness. Number one, I say I pray 5 times a day. And I got to say that again, 5 is so important. I get 5 times a day to reset, reload, refocus. No matter what's going on, and they set at different times every day based on what's going on with the sun. Mm-hmm. But I got 5 times a day. My next prayer is like 1 something a day, like 1:30 something. But if I had any problems, if I just want to thank God for just being clean, being sober, being alive, being able to have a job, whatever, I can reset, refocus.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's a whole nother different prayer, man. And it's total Arabic. I had to learn Arabic language in order to pray. So I've been studying it, man. I got all kind of books, man, that you know, I had to go through these and the laws of Islam. This is the fiqh. It teaches you the laws. It takes you forever to learn that. Different Arabic. This is why I learned a lot of Arabic language from this book, man. I've been studying. I've been grinding. It's been a journey, but Islam has brought me inner peace, man. It's brought me inner peace because you get to know yourself and your Lord, man. Because only different. We don't pray. We just pray straight to God. You know, we don't intercede through nobody. No human creation, because God created that human creation. So I don't have to go through a human creation. I go straight to we believe in the same God that Christians, Jews, and they believe in. You know what I mean? It's the same God, ain't no different. That same one God. We're monotheistic religion. These others are polytheistic religion. You know, they believe in more than one God. We're monotheistic, one God. That's it, because there's only one. And they're all Abrahamic faiths. They all come from Abraham, by the way. Each one of these faiths are Abrahamic faiths. I don't know if you remember the story of Hagar, Sarah, and Abraham when she told him to sleep with her maid servant, right? Mm-hmm. Remember they had the baby. Abraham had the baby before Sarah. Yeah. She had her until she was 99. And Hagar had the baby, and Sarah got jealous, right? Let me tell you how God had a plan. And she told her to get the woman out of my house, remember? And Abraham took her and dropped off way somewhere. And where he dropped off at was Mecca, where we pray to, right? Hagar was the forefront of Islam because he had Ishmael. So it's in the Bible. These same stories. They tell you what he did when he took her. So we have to believe in the Bible as Muslims. We have to believe in the Torah, which was the Jewish book, the one that came before the Bible. Yeah. It was all 3 different revelations that led up to Islam. Islam just was the revelation of all of them. And I can go deeper to that, but that's a whole other topic. But gotcha. I just want people to know that, listen, they're all Abrahamic faith. All of them come from Abraham.
So they are, and I think the misconception in this country is, you know, and I often ask, you know, of course, coming from a strong Christian background, I got a lot of Christians in my family. A lot of times, a question I ask, so if you're a Christian, does that mean all the Muslims going to hell? And if you Muslim, does that mean all the Christians going to hell? Like, and it's a common misconception that you're separate. Like, you believe in, you see it in this country. We all see it. Most people think Muslims believe in Allah is different from Jesus. You know what I mean? Like Hold
on. Let me say something. Allah just means supreme being. It's a distinction from being able to put a tag, like you can put God on anybody. The Greeks believe in all kind of gods. Zeus and the Athenians and other places, they believe in all kind of gods. But the word Allah is the only supreme God word that stands alone, that represents God. You use it nowhere else. You can't take it and tag it. There's nothing in nobody else. That's the beautiful part of it. Allah just means supreme being, supreme deity. The same thing just means God. But you can't separate and tag it to somebody. Nobody else can call themselves Allah.
You know, I think under the Islam and under the Muslim faith, and because you pray 5 times a day, it's a constant reminder of you know, what you should be doing, right? Because in the Christian faith, if you are not highly, heavily involved in the church, you only going to the altar one time a week. You see what I'm saying? I think, and especially in our culture, if you only make me do something one time a week, I got 6 more days to do a whole bunch of nonsense or things that are not pleasing to God. But as a Muslim, you're reminding yourself each and every day, 5 times a day, that hey, this is my walk, this is my faith, this is, and I think that's more beneficial in your aspect, because you already know, you give you an inch, you're gonna take
a mile. I need. See, it's called a conscious contact. I get a conscious contact 5 times a day, because we pray as if God's right in front of us. We have to wash up. Like every time before I pray, it's called ablution or wudu. I have to put water on my hand for the sin that I walked. Then I put water in wash my mouth out 3 times for the sin I spoke. Put water in my nose. Wash my face off for the sin that I saw. Wash my head and my feet for the sin I walked in and the sin I thought about. And I do that every time before I pray. It's called ablution. And what you do, you don't wipe the water off, you let it fall to the floor. And what it is, the sins that you committed fall to the floor. You just let it drip to your robe while you're praying. You see what I'm saying? And you purifying yourself every time from all the bull crap that I might have did the last 30 minutes ago, or the last hour, or the last conversation.
Even your thoughts, or even your, you know what I mean? Like, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. And that's something
and your ears for the stuff that you heard.
Wow. That's amazing. And I know that the spirituality is not, I can see it. It's all over, man. It's written all over your face. You know what I mean? I can see it on you. And
I also want to say this, Lamar, because Islam means submission to God's will. Just to educate some more people. That's all Islam means. You can look it up in the dictionary. It's in the wealth. Submission to God's will. That's all.
It's not a religion.
Yeah. It's submission to God's will. When I say I'm trying to stay in Islam, what I'm saying is I'm trying to stay in the form of Islam. I'm trying to stay in submission to God's will. Wow. And you hear that in conversation with other Muslims, you know, alhamdulillah, inshallah, alhamdulillah. You know, you hear all the things. You know, alhamdulillah just means pray, all praise and thanks belong to God. Inshallah, if you ever heard me and another Muslim conversing, you hear say inshallah about 25 times. If it's his will, it'll happen. Yeah. So I can't say, I'm finna go ahead and buy me some a brand new parachute, inshallah. Yeah, if he will for that to happen. Yeah. We say that about 1,000 times. If you hear other Muslim converse, any act, you know, if I cut the light on in the room, Bismillah, in the name of God. Before I eat, we don't do no prayer before we pray. We just Bismillah, you know, in the name of God. We finish alhamdulillah. Thank you for that meal. You know what I mean? Keep it real. It's real simple. It's simplistic.
Direct.
Simplistic. Yeah, direct. It's not complicated, man. You know, and marriage is 50% of this religion, by the way. 50% of it is this religion. That's the half of it. Marriage is 50% of it.
Let's talk about your marriage. What has marriage done for you? You know, you're newlywed. Congratulations on the wife. You know, and all that good stuff. What has marriage done for you? How has that elevated you even more, Mr. Elevation?
Well, man, it's beautiful, man, to have a connection with somebody that you really love, somebody that on the same page as you. My wife's a Muslim now. She eats healthy. She eats the same way I eat. She comes up with all these great exotic plant-based meals every day. I love her for that. Marriage has taught me to be more responsible. It's taught me that other people depending on me. I can't make decisions no more just for me, or I break the whole marriage in half. When we got married at the mall, the imam pulled me to the side and said, "Look, it's up to you now." The imam is the priest, like the priest. He said, "Look, after we got married," he pulled me by my face and said, "Look, the woman following you.
Wow.
If you make them, you can be the reason she stay or go." Yeah, man. We pray together every time. She got a little pink rug, you know, and then the woman pray, but like a little bit behind you. And you always the lead. You lead the prayer. She can never lead. You lead her in prayer. You know what I mean? So we pray together all the time. Baby, come on, let's pray now. I need that motivation. Baby, prayer came in. Like, you got time to be doing that. Come on, let's pray. Yeah. She keep me in line. You know, she keep me in line, man. And a lot of other things she keep me in line. Man, remind me, you need to call this person. You call this person. You get But that support system, man, is so major, man. And a lot of people get married for money. A lot of people get married for security. A lot of people get married. I got married because I really connected with the person I'm with. I said, man, I got to marry her. Yeah. I got to. I ain't never been connected with nobody like this. It was a process called, you know, especially with her being Caucasian, bro. When she became Muslim, you can imagine. You don't know what I went through some stuff. I ain't make her become Muslim, though, what everybody thought. But I just make her own decision. We can't make Muslims. Surah, chapter 2, verse 256 says, "There'll be no compulsion of religion, the truth will always stand clear from error. So if I'm living in truth, it gonna draw people in anyway.
Yeah.
I can't force nobody to become a Muslim. My children, nobody, my mama, nobody. I gotta keep living in truth, and then maybe people see what I'm doing, and that's what happened. That's what that surah means. We call it surah, which means chapter, in ayat 256, and it's clear. Give me the guideline. I can't do that. So so everybody who watching this podcast thinking I made ready to become a Muslim, it's not. It's a law. I can't make nobody become a Muslim. Yeah. She made her own conscious decision. You know, she saw what I was doing, and Brandon was studying too. You know what I mean? She was already studying. She take notes from me, baby. Here you go. I bet you didn't know this. She like to challenge me and let me know she found stuff I didn't know.
Yeah,
you know. So,
that's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm so happy for you, Jake. It's a beautiful thing to see and watch you grow. Like you say, I remember y'all riding by on the school bus and we was out there at the club chilling. I remember watching you as a young buck, you know what I mean, come up into the gang culture, into the drug culture. You know what I mean? Watch you go, you know, in and out of prison, and to see you here today and to talk to you like I do on pretty much on a daily basis, seems like sometimes that the growth is real. Like you say, like you can't make anybody believe in Mr. Elevation. Just like what his name, Trinidad James. Don't believe and just watch. And I'm seeing it, man, and it's coming off of you in a high volume that if you don't understand what this man has been through in his story and the trials and the tribulations and the obstacles he has overcome to be who you are today, man, it's truly, truly amazing in my eyes. And I tip my hat to you, brother, because I love to see brothers grow. I love to see brothers learn from their mistakes and be like, hey, I got to check myself at the door. I'm finna make this thing right. And I did the same thing in my life. It's still a lot of stuff I have to work on, but being able to overcome those situations and those trials and overcome those, you know, old playgrounds and old playmates to be who you are today is truly an amazing feat, my brother. Truly amazing feat.
You know, alhamdulillah, he did that. You know, he did. I got busy, he got busy.
Yeah.
I got busy, he got busy. The more I stay busy, the more he get busy. You know what I mean? And that's why I bump my head 5 times a day. Get this prostration mark on my head, man. You know, ooh, I can keep going on about that, man. But I want to let the people know something, man, that I talk about all the time. Just throw this out there before we move on, man. When you lose your excuses, you will find your results. And I think you remember me sharing about that because you said, "Wow."
Wow.
When you lose your, you see, I lost all my excuses. That's how I'm finding the results now. I got rid of all my excuses. I lost them. I had ran out the reservation. Ain't had no more. I spent 20 years of reservation. Well, maybe if I do it like this. 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 Well, I think I got it this time. If I just do it, I don't do it like that, but I still can do what I want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I lost them excuses, man. I found my result, man. Thank God for that, man. You know what I mean? When you lose your excuse, you'll find your result. I promise you, it's a fact.
Man, that's amazing, man. So what's next? What's next for Mr. Elevation? What we got? You know, we've been through a lot. What we got next? I know it's something stirring in the pot. I know you got something brewing in the kitchen.
Definitely.
What do we got next, Mr. Jake?
I'm working on some business endeavors. My whole dialogue has changed. My playmates have changed on that arena. You know, I converse with some people. Shout out to Class 2002, by the way, for that dope 20-year Class reunion. I sent them a message, told them they had me crying. I sent them a message the day before yesterday, told them they had me crying, man, because I ain't never went on a tuxedo, never purchased a tuxedo, never owned a tuxedo. They threw an event, and I went Mr. Elevation, baby, put on a tuxedo. He was clean through the death. You know what I mean? But shout out to Class 2002, man, for that dope 20-year reunion, the greatest reunion I've ever seen in my life, man. Whole weekend of just events, man. Them people put that thing together, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all the GOAT, man. But what's next, man? The book, man. Elevation of Jake Butt story, man.
Oh, man.
The Jake Butt story. You know, I ain't want to get too deep. There's a lot of stuff I want to put in the book instead of putting on the podcast. Give people something to be excited about to read. Because what you just heard on the podcast, it's 100 times more deeper story with Mr. Elevation. Like he said, if you knew what I've been through, man. Because I don't look like nothing I've been through, man. Come on, man. I used to go 3, 4, 5 weeks without taking a bath, running the street, man, trying to get that next fix, man, trying to get that next high, man. You know what I mean? I did IDK, any damn kind of drugs. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so I had to get that fix, man. And and I went through that young, man. My teenage, I was strung out, teenage, man, 17, 18, man, strung out. You know, when more people in high school, I'm out there strung out.
When the book dropping? When the book dropping? That's what you know me, man. I'm a firm believer of putting you gotta put a date on it, man. Put an address on that thing, man, because I tell you, me must be great that you know me. I'm a motivator. I'm one. All my friends can tell you when I call them, it's like, hey man, you need to do this. Hey man, I got plenty of friends. I tell them, man, come on, man, do that. Don't wait. What you waiting on? Wait, broke the wagon. So put a date on when people can expect to be able to get their copy of Elevation the Jake Butt Story.
Early 2023, the first quarter of 2023, it should be though. It should be. You'll see me promoting. It's in the words right now. I'm writing. I'm trying to wipe between work, wipe between marriage life, right between I go to the gym 2-3 times a week, run a couple miles, work out, still do that. You know, that ain't stopped. Planet Fitness is my best friend. So between all that, trying to invest in myself, I'm creating that. And it ain't even about the monetary value. I just want to, if I don't touch with one person with this book, man, I hope I change somebody's life. Gotcha. With my story. You know, Michelle Obama said in her book, Becoming, man, she said, own your story, man.
I sure appreciate you coming on the show, man. You've been a great guest, man. I'm definitely I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. First quarter 2023. It's gonna be Elevation, the Jake Butt Story, man. Any last words you want to give for the people? Anything you want to give them before we get up out of here?
I definitely do, man. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If I don't do something about what I want to do, if I don't start the process, I'm gonna still be the same individual. I'm gonna still be stuck in the same situation. So it's up to me to take that first step and make something change about in my life. Because a lot of times we're looking for the perfect opportunity. There is no perfect opportunity. You just got to do it. You just got to go. I didn't have no idea I'd be doing any of these things I'm doing now. I just knew I took a step towards this direction. And I can imagine what's going to come if I keep stepping further in this direction. Yeah. So if nothing changes, nothing changes. And also, old man Jimmy told me this in Macon in 2011. I'll never forget Jimmy. I don't know if he's still living. He said, young man, life is not about catching up. It's about catching on. Ooh. And I'm just learning what that means. It's just coming to fruition and revelation. Life is not about catching up and about catching on. I spent so many years running in circles because I was trying to catch up to what I thought I had missed out on. I was trying to, like I told you when I got out, I'm trying to sell drugs. I went through so many years of using drugs. I want to catch back up with that person I thought I was supposed to be at 18, 19, 20, 21. Mm-hmm. I was trying to still catch up with life, man. When all I had to do was just catch on what people like you doing and everybody else doing. Just catch on.
Yeah.
So life ain't about catching up, man. It's about catching on. Stop spending so many years trying to make up for what you done missed. Stop spending so many years trying to make up for something that you think you need to do that happened back there that you thought you missed out on. Just catch on to what's going on today. There's a whole lot of elevation going on there.
Oh man, appreciate those prophetic words, man. I'm as you can see, I'm writing that down in my journal, man. I gotta have that. Life ain't about catching up, it's about catching on, man. You know what I mean? And I sure appreciate you, man. We love you on the show, man.
More definitely. Because I done caught on, Lamar. I done caught on. I got to say that. I done caught on. I'm holding on by dear life right now.
No doubt. Yeah. Man, yeah, appreciate y'all time, man. We love you all. You already know. Be great today. Peace.
Peace, man. There's a whole lot of elevation going on, man.